Are you ready to do this? Oh, I'm being paged. Sorry. Okay. Do y'all want to hit a few balls just out there? Don't worry. Just warm up. You cool with that? Oh, you've already hit. You've hit too. Dream children. Dream kids. Oh, I'm going now. All right, y'all get your sticks. Come on out. All right, we're going from low performance to high performance. That's a joke. Yeah, so we got a couple players thanks to Walker Sahog. We appreciate it. Y'all come on over, and you're going to introduce yourselves and just give us just a little bit about what you currently do or what you did, because he's a little further down the road. Go ahead. We'll start on this side.
Hi, my name's Reese Beckendorf. I'm from Madisonville, and I just finished my
take
first
one
year
and pass it down?
And I'm about to go for my second year.
Do you know who his coach is? Chuck Creasy. We just talked about that. Yeah, I'm going to actually talk about Chuck a little bit later. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Bria Coleman. I'm from Baton Rouge, and I just graduated from IMG Academy this year.
Hi, I'm Luke Beckendorf. I'm Reese's older brother. Graduated from LSU Baton Rouge last May. I'm starting at LSU Medical School in New Orleans on Monday.
Cool. All right. If y'all don't mind, let's get Hopper on the other side and one over here. And then what I want y'all to do, we can kind of figure this out, but I'll probably have one person out and then kind of rotate like in a circle, and we'll just mix it up. So you figure out the two that want to start, okay? It doesn't matter. And then we'll get one Hopper on the other side, one over here. All right, so first four, the most important four, right? Anyone want to reel off some Craig O'Shaughnessy statistics on this? We got some Craig O'Shaughnessy fans? Yes? Throw out some things. You're smarter than I am on this. About first four. Anything that stood out to you that he's done? They're important? Give me something. We don't have any statisticians. Walker, what do you got in the first four? What percent? 70%. And they did some work, too, with juniors as well, right? This is not just high-end pros, right?
It's all the way across the board.
Did you hear that? I think they did 3-5 nationals. They did some stats. Yep. Yep. So the question always goes back to, what do you do with the data? What do you do with the data? So we're going to start talking about this a little bit. I'm actually really proud. One of the big projects I led was the coaching part of Net Generation. And we have Serve Plus One in there for red ball players, all the way up to national rank. This is for everybody. But the key is, how are you going to practice? So we're going to go ahead. It's like a little play, practice, play. We're going to get started. I'm not going to go through theory and all that stuff. We're going to come back to that later. So here's what we want to do. We want to get y'all to warm up your serve. So if I said warm up your serve, y'all go ahead and warm it up. Show me what you typically do. I have not talked about this with them. I'm going to totally bluff my way through it. And they have a lot of balls, right? What if you only had 3 balls? What would the two of you do? Yep, let's get 3 balls. So we're going to relate this all the way down to beginners. It doesn't matter the level. I'm going to make them play non-dominant. We're going to do some different things as well. But I'm going to poke fun at myself, and I hope you poke fun at yourselves in this. We'll all show a little vulnerability. Walker, I will not hammer you as a coach if they violate some things now that they have choice. This is truly autonomy that I'm giving them, right? Didn't talk about it in advance.
There is no autonomy.
Would you say he's pushing more than pulling? Yep. What's that? Yeah, we're getting there. You're giving me a good segue. All right, timeout. So was anyone at our workshop yesterday? Camp that's here? Well, the one I did outside. Wayne was there, yes, before he was in here. So we did something just simple, serve plus one, all right? And I think I got this from Kirk Anderson years ago. So what we want you to do is, doesn't matter, you can start. You're going to serve, you're going to return it to him, he's going to hit it back to you, and you're going to stop it, and then you're going to serve. He returns. So it's a serve plus one, but you keep alternating who serves, okay? So this will be our next step. Thank you, Bo. And the idea is we're not supposed to miss. All right, and timeout. So they've already warmed up. They've already warmed up. Let's pretend you haven't really warmed up, okay? And let's pretend we have some money on the line here. Or it could be social shaming, whatever. But we're not going to miss, okay? We're not going to miss. So I want you to serve and return at the speed you can control. But I also would like for you to think about maybe you're a teaching pro. And you're going to teach this to somebody who's not as good as you are. Cool? Let's see how this goes. And then stop it. Yep, and now you serve. Excellent, I like it. Should they go any faster than that? They've already warmed up. Do you think they should be serving any bigger than this? Heck no. Let's execute. Don't go any bigger than what you just did. And one more. All right, I'd even like for you to slow your serve down a little bit more, okay? We're going to do one more. One more. All right, and stop. So let me ask both of you this. Did you have a target for your serve? Are you being honest? And you hit your target. Okay. The next time you served, was it the same target? It was? Okay. If they were serving left-handed, and I'm going to make them do it in a little bit, where would their target be if they went non-dominant hand? They'd be down to like a 2-5 level probably, right? If you had to play with your left hand, where would your target be? Say it out loud. Get the ball in the stupid box, right? Super simple, right? So that's why we put on here about 3 stages of serve. So this isn't like mechanics of it. This is about the serve plus one. Get it in. What will be the second thing on your serve, the next stage, like 3-5 level adult? That's like an intermediate level, 3.5. What will be the next stage? Just get it in?
Down the tee.
Down the tee, and what else? Keep it pretty simple, probably 2 spots. And a 4 or 5 player, what are we going to add for them? Body, right? Everybody with me? So here's the deal. All the science, get away from blocked as soon as you can. They know what they're doing, don't they? They know what they're doing, right? So just call it out. Call your serve out, whatever you like to call it. Some people go A, B, C, alley body, center, whatever, out wide, T. Just call it out, but you can't hit the same one twice, okay? And for now, we'll be nice, and the returner will go back down center, and then the server will hit it back to them as well, okay? Go for it. So the point I want to make with this is, from the very, very beginning, especially of group instruction, we have a serve, we have a return, we have a plus one. We don't serve on an island and stop. We don't return on an island and stop. We're going to add targets from the very beginning, and we're not going to block it. Everyone understand what block practice is? Someone want to give me a straight out definition? What is blocked practice? Come on, somebody say it. What?
Like one skill at a time.
Yeah, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, the warm sense of mastery. It's one of my favorite quotes. So, you ready? Let's do it. So we're blocking the return. They got to go down center, right? We're going to change that in a little bit. But go ahead. Same thing. You call it out. And so we put a little pressure on them. So from the very beginning, I'm going T. And this should be from the warm-up where we're not even serving that hard, but always serving with a purpose. Always serving. So if they were earlier on, I'd tell her to hit like a lob kick. And Walker, she's got a great motion. Good action on the ball. What's that? Keep going. So I'd probably have them start off more of a second serve, but I'm just trying to show you how this progression might work here, okay? Thank you. And what you find a lot of times with good juniors is they have a hard time slowing things down. And if you start with a more cooperative rally approach, instead of doing things on the island with a bunch of feeding and all, they got to own up to this stuff from the very beginning. And it's just a totally different world. Keep going. You don't have to wait on us. Just keep calling it out loud. Act like we're not even here. And you can go ahead and play it if it's out. Swing volley that, short hop it, whatever you got to do. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter if you're a red ball player or whatever. There's got to be a purpose, right? Am I trying to move? Am I trying to go to their weakness? What's my tactic? Whatever. But we want to make sure that we don't keep blocking the same thing. Why would you block practice? Because you do want to have block practice. When do you want blocked practice? A new skill. Great answer. Yeah, you simply can't do it. Or it's a new skill and you're trying to do like add more spin or whatever, right? But as soon as they can do it, move on to cereal. And what is cereal? Not Count Chocula and Fruit Loops. It's spelled S-E-R-I-A-L. What is it? Some people get grossed out when I say they're called serial killers for a reason.
What's next to it? What's next in the sequence?
It's a sequence, right? It's a pattern, right? That you know it's predictable, right? So did I give them serial instructions? I didn't tell them their pattern. I just told them they had to change it. Remember what I said to them? They just had to change it. So blocked would be kick, serve out wide, add over and over. That's all you're going to do, right? We blocked the return. Why? What was it I said? What was the constraint that I told them? Up the middle. They have to do it up the middle, right? And the next ball, the +1, was that blocked, serial, or what? Yeah, so if you used our terms, it was blocked because it had to go right back to them, all right? So this is not a predictable order, actually. You could say it's random. They're getting to pick the serve. I didn't tell them they have to go wide, T, back to back like that, okay? All right, timeout. Y'all catch the ball. Let's go like this so we get mixed in so we can get older bro in here. See if he can perform some surgery. He did say he was in med school, right? That was my joke. Okay, just checking. That's like Mike Barrow. What does he say about you got to be a doctor, bartender, and what's the other one? Policeman. Thank you. I used to say teacher, preacher, and a salesman. No pressure. Yep, and play it if it's close. So, they're getting choice. The return is not, right? So what can we do differently here for the serve +1 if we want to move away from block practice? Because we did it as the warm-up. In the warm-up, you want to hit back to them so that you're not running all over the court, right? But as we move past that, then what might we do for the returner? Do all kinds of things, but just so they don't have to hit it right back to them. So what are some of the things you could ask the returner to do? Throw it out there.
Hit it away from them.
Yeah, hit it away from them. Do all kinds of stuff, right? First serve, if they bring in a little bit of heat, what are you thinking about on first serve for the returner?
In play.
Yeah, just put it in play down the middle, right? But again, this would be going from the warm-up to starting to actually drill and play points. But the main thing is, at first, they got to get warmed up. So we don't want them running all over the place. But the biggest thing is on the serve, change the targets as soon as possible. Unless it's a new skill, right? Yeah, or we're adding to it. Everybody with me on that? Cool. One more. All right, now hold on. Coach Creasy, I had 3 people, I think, work for me that played for Coach, and he used to talk about running plays. You know what I mean by running plays? So you do it with intent. We're going to talk about like an intent and then also dependent upon the return. So we're going to run plays. So he used to talk about wide and glide was one of them, right? So anyone know what wide and glide is? Does he still use the term? Tell everybody.
It's like slice out wide, and then I guess he grew up on volleys, but then taking the backhand and pulling it wide again.
Yeah, so you can do a lot of stuff with it, right? So let's just say we're going to stay back, and let's keep it really simple. And don't bring heat. Let's just go wide, return center, open court with the +1. You with me? He does a lot of serve volley behind it as well. We don't, obviously, he coaches a little differently than he used to. Yep, so we're going out wide, and then the idea behind this is there's major like pressure from the beginning, but the warm-up should be way slower, right? And they're always hitting targets in the warm-up. Yep. And so then you're going to take a ball. The difference now is she might not be able to catch the ball. Bill did. Thank you, Bill. But she may not be able to catch the ball. Earlier, we wanted to catch the ball so we could warm up and be really, really efficient. If you start this with young kids, you can even do throw it to a target with little ones on red. Throw it to a target, throw it back, catch it, throw it to the open court. You can do it from the beginning. They can catch it and drop hit it. It's all kinds of stuff you can do. But we got to start thinking about moving the ball with intent. There is a task, right, Wayne? We have a task we got to execute. But the biggest problem we have, kids hit the ball too damn hard, and they can't control it well. You got to be able to do it so that when you're choking your brains out, you can still execute when you're playing, right? But you're not hitting down the middle. You can move the ball with intent. Start that way versus I got a great looking stroke and man, I'm feeling good and we're blocking practice and then, oh, wow, they made me move over here, they made me move over here and I can't execute it now. Nice return. I like it. Oh, how about a round of applause for that one right there? I like it. Okay, so starting to do some different things again, thinking about the 3 different areas. Let's go second serves, and you're going to behave, and because I can tell she's a listener, like we talked about last night. She's going to do what we tell her. So second serve. Now, what's going to change the role of the returner? We're still practicing a little bit. This is sort of closed and then go into open. But what will we do with the returner now? How are we going to change? Could be a little bit more offensive, right? Not so much a winner, but try to move it. Where would you move it to? Because Creasy would say that the running plays is designated in advance, right? So we're just going to do it. So what would be a real simple one right here? Forehand cross. What will be another one? Chip and charge, whatever. Yep. I wish more people would be able to do it. But the main thing is we want it to be offensive, right? So you pick what you want to do. Say it out loud. Tell us. She's going to go second serve. Where do you want her to serve to? T. And what are you going to do? Ooh, I like it. Old school. And so we can play it out, but right now we're just going to execute the sequence and stop, okay? So second serve, and go ahead and come on in because it's great practice. And you don't have to slice it back, though. You don't have to. All right, let's do it again from the ad side, excuse me. So again, this is just 3 and 3. They're good enough to do wide body T, and do you think they're good enough to do thirds of the court like Wayne did yesterday in his channels? They're good enough for the return, right? Center and outside. Yep. So that's outside third and inside third. All right. And timeout. Y'all get a quick drink, and then we'll spin it around one spot. All right. So I want to go over this again. Well, it's code breakers or break the code. Y'all remember what we were doing yesterday? What Wayne had you do at the last 30 minutes or so? Could anyone describe what that was? Remember, you were in the service box. Anyone want to throw it out? 3 zones, right? And how do we distinguish those zones? What did he use? Cones, but also the throwdown lines, right? Because you want to be careful with cones because you can step on cones and bust your butt and slide out. Most of those are pretty sticky. So for those that weren't here, it's just simple outside thirds and center third, okay? Break the court into 3. If you look at whatever Hawkeye data and all that, they get crazy. It could be 6 or 8, whatever, but keeping it simple. So you got a third from like here over, you got your center third, and then you have your outside third. Would it be a good idea to put those down, those throwdown lines? Wayne's saying yes. When would you not put them down? What's that? Exactly. Do you think they need them? I didn't say it, you did. I had nothing to do with that decision. Yeah, so just as simple as this. Big fan of center, outside third and center third, right? Thirds make it easy. And again, if you have someone who's more of a 2-5, what kind of spots are you going to be looking at for a 2-5 level? Maybe just get this stupid ball in, right? So we can play the game of tennis, right? And then we say like 3-5 intermediate, they're going to work it side to side. Whoops. Sorry about that, Pat. That was user error, not the microphone issue. Actually, William, you mind helping me? I might have screwed it up with the magnet or something. No problem. All good?
Yeah.
I got so excited I knocked it off.
I think it was worth it.
All right, I'll just use these on the back side just to give us... All right, does that make sense, everybody? Center third, outside third, okay? All right, so we're running plays. You get to call the play. It's second serve. So we're focused now on a little bit more on the return. So second serve, where you're serving, right? Can't chip and charge. What would you like to do? Out wide, and you're going to do what? Forehand down the line. Beautiful. Let's see it. And then you'd hit the next ball because you're the server. Yep. We're focusing on the returner, but you'd still hit the next ball. Okay? Let's just do one more. I just wanted to see if he was going to bring heat to the older brother or not on that and like light him up. He's nice. They are good kids, Walker. All right, so let's do this, y'all. Simple stuff. So again, I gave him choice. Now we'll do something different. I won't give him choice just because typically when we work on something at first, yes, we want to make it more serial, work our way to random, but sometimes you need to see if they can do it. So I'm going to dictate the environment. And then after that, I open it further back up and give them choice, okay? So now we're going to work on, back to the server again, focus, serve +1. We're going to go T and go behind. You know what I mean by that? Okay, so where do we think we should have the returner hit? We're back to the server again, serve +1. They're going to go T, and he's going to hit the +1 behind. What should we have the returner do? What do you think? Yeah, he could do any of it, but if he's bringing some heat on the first serve, we might want to do what? Go back down to the center, especially if we're going to focus more on the offense. So we're going to make it a little easier on the server. Everybody with me on that? And if you say middle, the likelihood of them making the return is much greater. I want to see the serve +1. So I'm going to go back to the return middle. Okay? All right, go for it. Good. And then back behind him. And then he's going to act like his leg was broke or whatever, and he couldn't get there and all that. Yep. So now you're doing the same thing. What I like about this is you can keep alternating instead of for 8 minutes, you're going to serve the entire time, and all you're going to do is return. Really like the idea of alternating. Yep, and behind. Excellent. More than anything, do you think this is going to get inside their heads? Do you think they're going to focus on tactics? Yeah, especially boys, what do we have issues with that they focus on so much? Knocking the crap out of it, right? Hitting aces or service winners or whatever. All right, timeout. So on there, and I love that Wayne talked about this yesterday, is this concept of linkage. The big thing about this is that I'm going to hit a serve, and I better be ready to move. No matter if it's heat or a second serve, and I'm going to have to chase, whatever it is. So we start talking about the landing and all, not to get super technical, but again, I'm going to serve out wide, and I got to catch myself and go back into a split, right? It could be to play D if it's on my second. I'm looking for offense here. The other thing is sometimes you got a little time to back up a little bit, and other times you may not. You might delay and look to attack forward. But again, we've got to keep talking about when they're serving, landing on balance like a good baseball pitcher, and then going back into our split, okay? So I'm just going to throw that at them to think about that, okay? So let's go first serve, moving towards open. You get to pick, all right? But I want to see you pick according to his return. You can return anywhere you want, the returner can. So again, it's first serve, your pick on the serve, your pick on the next ball. Ready? So we started off with the warm-up. It was more blocked for the return, right? But we had to move the serve right off the bat. When we introduced the behind and all that stuff, again, I went back and gave them some rules, and then now I'm moving towards open again once I see they can do it. If they can't do it, then you're probably going to have to spend a little bit more time and maybe block the practice a little bit, or at least one or two of the shots. This is completely open. So what am I looking for now as a coach? He gets choice. Both of them get choice. What am I looking for? Execution, right? Yep, and executing. Absolutely. So I mentioned play, practice, play, right? That's a USA soccer thing that's really big, and other people call it open, closed, open. So also the hourglass, right? How should you always run your lesson where it's open, closed, open? Should you always run the lesson that way after the warm-up? You shrugged and said, depends, right? If I'm in this situation here, I'm going to go like this. If I don't see what I want, I'm going to go towards close. It's a continuum, close to open. There's gradients in between, right? So as a coach, this is what you have to do. I'm observing. I'm comparing it to some kind of model in my head. But like Wayne said yesterday, the bottom line is, can they execute the task? And if they can't, over and over, you got to do something about it. All right, timeout. Thanks, guys. Get a quick drink and let's go in a circle, okay? Quick drink and you'll step up next. All right, so we talked about linkage. I'm going to go back to some of the basics really quick. I put down on the foundation there and realized I messed up because we're adjusting our tactics a little bit. USTA, we're going to call them some different names, but it's okay. They're all very, very similar. Game situations. What are we working on? What's the category here? The game situation. Mostly serve and return, but obviously you get the and one, you can say it's the serve return, and the and one is a ground stroke, right? Because other than the chip charge, we're sticking with the serve and return as the main focus, but the and one ball, we did mostly baseline, but older brother chose to chip and charge. So what is that game situation he added? Transition, right? Transition. So then we have the game situations, we have tactics, right? We talked about just get the stupid ball in the box. We talked about returning down center, which is what, for the returner, what tactic is that? Consistency, right? And it's a neutral phase of play, and it may be defensive, right? But this is all the stuff that we've got to understand, right? Why are you going to change a grip on a serve? Why would you change a grip on a serve? Mainly it spins, right? What does spin give you? Control. Hopefully more control, right? And so Walker's done a bunch of work lately on your serve, right? Yeah, and you can tell she's spinning it. It may be at the detriment to her accuracy. Everybody with me? Struggling with it a little bit. But the big thing, I mentioned a baby kick. Do you know what I mean by a baby kick for the warm-up? It's like a lob kick. Just lob it and just whatever you got to do to own that control piece, you got to do it. Slow it down from the beginning every day, right? Instead of bringing heat. Then you're going to get to sell the grip because you got to be able to control it. Spin will give you more control, but at first it doesn't. What happens when you work on hitting your top spin forehand, adding more spin? What ends up happening like on the forehand side? The negative about it. What's that? Could be risky, but from a tactical and a ball characteristic standpoint, when you're adding more topspin to the forehand, what starts happening? Well, I heard a lot of different things here. Could be pace. What are some other things that tend to happen? I mean, what's the ball going to do more of than it did before? It's going to drop, right? So you're going to have depth issues. It's the same thing on the serve, right? They may be hitting the ball into the net, whatever, but you can also get them to hit the kick out wide and create a little angle on it or the slice out wide. So again, when you make that change, it's going to be some things that'll be negative, but you've got to make sure they can actually slow the thing down and just execute it. All right, cool. Concepts, representative learning design. Just take learning and change it to practice. This is something I got like obsessive about during my master's work I did. I got a master's degree. Actually, I finished it during COVID in coach education, and it was systems design for coach ed systems, and then also skill development were the two things that I really was attracted to. A guy named Ross Pinder, who's a phenomenal human being, a younger person. He and others, they didn't coin the phrase, but it was the first article that I saw, the research on it. And I got it down to like doing 5 different things. But basically, you go back to is it representing the game? Right? So if you're blocked, is that representing the game of tennis? Hell no. You're doing it for a reason, because they can't, right? Or that they need to practice and refine it. So we got to always think about moving towards random and variable. Everybody with me? Simple concepts. But here's the difference in a games-based approach. With representative learning design, it could be that I'm hand-feeding. And I got to make sure that I'm not hand-feeding across my body at an angle that never occurs in tennis. So I'm going to go outside, left hand over here, and step out with my foot. So again, that's hand-feeding to represent the game, right? Like you see people work on slice, and they'll feed a slow arcing ball. Well, you're never going to slice a slow arcing ball. You want to generally get it down lower at first, because you're going to slice like to reach stuff. So again, it's got to represent the game. So that's why when they start off, they need targets and a task and intent. Everybody with me on that? Just make me feel good and go up and down. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's our representative learning design. Always trying to work towards open. All right, cool. Anyone know anything about Wardlaw directionals? And you've heard this before, right? Spent a lot of time with Chuck. He's obsessive about it. He coaches at University of Denver. We get to spend a lot of time in Denver. Luckily, Denver Tennis Park's one of our fellowship sites, and I just hung out with him a couple weeks ago. Anyone want to give the cliff notes of Wardlaw directionals? What you got?
Pull shots like outside.
Did you say pull shot?
Yeah,
Yep.
outside. Pull shots like cross courts or inside in or an inside out forehand.
Yep. So pulling across your body is a natural motion, right? So it's outside angles and inside angles. Outside angle, it crosses your body. Inside never crosses your body. And so the idea is if the ball's coming out wide here, I'm a lot better off if I just pull it back cross court, and I'm waiting for that return of serve where I can go and pull it up the line from more the center of the court. When would you change the outside angle and go line? When would you do that? Walker, what you got?
Two things. Number one, thigh goes inside the baseline. Number two, your weight is going forward in the direction that you want to fall away.
Love it. Did everybody hear it? Yeah, it's like you get a good look at a ball, essentially, right? Yeah, but if you get the ball that's coming at you super quick, I mean, this is what Gilbert did with Andre Agassi. It's the biggest difference, right, Walker, in his game, was that he quit doing stupid things. And I get it. People change direction way more than they ever have in tennis. But it's a simple, basic thing that's your rock foundation. And you can always go off of the foundation if you got great hands. So let's go really simple. You get to serve wherever you want. You get to serve wherever you want. And the returner is going to operate off of what they get. So if she's going wide to your forehand with some speed, what are you going to do? Back cross. What if it's a bit slow and sits up? Place for Chuck Creasy. He knows. Let's do it. Did y'all hear what he said, though? He just repeated what Walker said. That was some heat she brought to him. And you can serve or she can serve again. Doesn't matter either way. So you can have the person serve the entire time and the returner, for 8, 9, 10 minutes, whatever you want to do. Just like the idea that you alternate when you're doing the three ball sequences. Walker, she's learning to slice more, right? Oh, that's right. You told me that last night, though. Yep. She had some issues. She was in a cast or a whatever before. Okay. Because I was going to use it. I was going to use a great example, though, but we're not going to make her do it. No, when people first learn to slice, pretend her left arm's not a problem. They'll overuse it, just like learning a drop shot, and you overuse the drop shot. So we could give a constraint. What would the constraint be if she was healthy right now and she was doing that? What would be the constraint you would give her?
No slice.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. Yep, but she's got a bad left wrist, so. All right, timeout. So I wouldn't spend this much time with serve plus one without opening up the point, letting them play it out. I'm just doing it real quick to give you all some examples. I'm not saying spend 35 minutes doing this, right? We'd start opening up the play. Is this a dependent type of drill that we're doing right now? Would you say it's dependent? Yeah. Yeah. What is it dependent upon? Where they're serving, the incoming ball, how fast it is, and those things. That's what you want to start working towards versus running plays. Running plays don't always work. You got to make adjustments. They get an unbelievable return. You can miss your spot on your serve, whatever. But if you slow things down, love to do running plays where the first two shots, you force them to do certain things. She's going to develop a nasty drop shot with that no left hand, Walker. Let's go one more. So this is dependent upon the ball. So when you're a coach and you're feeding, all right, and y'all can stop. You can take a brief rest. So if you're a coach and you're feeding, this is a big miss. Like everyone understands random feeds, right? If you're the coach, what does that mean if it's random? They have no idea what's coming, right? But what's the difference in a dependent feed? Because it could be random, right? What does it mean when it's dependent on them?
That our feed is dependent on what they do.
Yeah, well, so what I'm trying to get at is you can go random. Yeah, it's dependent upon the feed, what they're going to do. And you're looking for a certain response versus they can just do anything they want. Just a little different terminology. So again, with Wardlaw directionals, it's dependent upon the incoming ball. Everybody with me on that? USA Player Development has that in their feeding things too. They actually talk about dependent feeds. I used to never do that. It was just blocked. I'd tell them what to do, maybe serial, and wouldn't do anything that was you'd really consider dependent. Okay, a couple other things real quick. So we're going to do some serve and volley. Let's behave, not crank the serve, crank the return. But let's start off, and we're going to block this thing to keep it simple. You start off, you'll be the serve and volleyer. I want the returner to go at them. Not at 100 miles an hour, but just go right at them. And let's go really, really simple. Same concept. Serve out wide, volley open court. Okay? Go for it. So the idea is these are like hitting directional patterns of ground strokes, as you want to get to the point where they can just run these plays automatically over and over. You'll see, though, they're struggling with this a little bit, aren't they? They are, because this is not easy to do. What if I told you I have 7, 8-year-olds that do a better job than they are? You think I'm on drugs, right? Depends on how you coach people. Depends on how you start them. But they're also got some different things going on with working on different parts of their game. If I told them to go half speed, they could do it. Yep. And so failing is a really good thing. They're not professional serve and volleyers, but this is what you're going to see, and this is what you need. And you just keep doing it. You don't stop it and start feeding the ball as the coach, because is this ugly, or is this terrible, or just they're making some mistakes? They're just making some mistakes, right? And Wayne said yesterday, is it a flaw, though? Is it something that's really off? Then you might have to do what? Close the environment. You may have them do what? If you're going to work on the serve and the volley open court, could you step in and feed the return? Just let them serve, and then you feed it to them, right? Could you have their partner feed it to them? Absolutely, absolutely. Keep going. So again, just trying to get the same application. We're just continually thinking about controlled practice. Did he go open court or behind? Okay. Give us like 1 or 2 reasons why you did that, because I thought it was brilliant. What were you thinking instantaneously?
It was low, so I didn't want to go to the high part of the net. And that was
God. This has been beat in his brain by Chuck. The other thing is the ball floated too. So that's a good time to go behind because there's extra time. Does that make sense? Because if the ball came quicker going open court, it makes more sense, right? I love it. Good job. Really good play. All right, and now let's open it up. So this is dependent upon the return, and that's why he did that, because he's been trained in more of an open skill environment. So again, you're going to serve and volley. You pick what you want to do, and you pick what you want to do with the volley. So we just want to see now, dependent means there's some judgment involved, and we want to see if, as a coach, we're successful, and as a player, they're successful. Interesting choice. Why'd you go, and why is a tough question. I'm learning to reframe it. Can you tell me a couple reasons why you might want to do that? Why is okay, but when you start off as, like, why the hell are you doing that? It might come, you know what I'm saying? It might come across that way, so you have to be careful with your language.
Chuck likes to say that it's easier to pull it across instead of kind of.
Wardlaw is obsessive about it too. Just 2 weeks ago, this is your natural movement. This is not. Go for it. Love it. Good low one. Good decision on the half volley. Is that a mistake, a flaw? What do you think, Wayne? What's that? Just a mistake. Are we going to freak out about it? Heck no. I want to see if it happens 5 times in a row. Love it. Y'all come over and get a drink real quick. Good job, y'all. Appreciate that. All right, so was that perfect? Absolutely not. It's real tennis, right? It's real development. Again, Wayne said the same thing yesterday. Are they making this mistake over and over again, and maybe it becomes a flaw? Maybe you got to change the environment as a coach, but so many of the times, just shut up and let it go, right? It was the hardest thing for me. I had to make a comment about every single point for years and years of coaching. Let it go. Let them figure it out. Because the last time I checked, you're not allowed to coach unless you're making money, you're playing in college. You know, junior tennis and adult leagues, you're not allowed to coach. Even though it happens, you're not supposed to be doing it. All right, so let me ask you this. If you were playing doubles and you were coaching doubles, off the ground return, not serve and volley and all that, in terms of the directional part we talked about, Wardlaw directionals, how would that affect poaching? Outside angle on the return versus inside angle. Let me try to set the stage for this. I'm on the deuce side, I'm the returner, right? 1 up, 1 back situation. This concept of Wardlaw directionals. If I'm the net player, when am I going to get nervous? When do most people at the net get nervous? The opposite. They get nervous on this, on the outside. I'm going to throw this out, and I talked to Paul about this, actually the time before last when I was out there. If you see middle, people go, but that's the shot you're going to get burned down the line most times. If the serve, just like Walker said, if it sits up and they're able to move in the court, yeah, they're going to light you up and go down the line. But if you think about it, when you play cross on the outside ball, that ball, you intercept it, it's crossing the net at a different location. You with me? The ball that goes out wide, they're pulling across. You're in this area here. You cut in diagonal. It's completely different. When that ball goes here, think about where it crosses the net as well. So it's almost like you have to rewire people's brains in doubles. So again, if it's a lollipop serve, no, I get that. But if the serve has a little bit of heat to it and they're out, that's a great ball to poach off of. Everybody with me? Two-handers, this is just my personal opinion, I think they pull better than one-handers. I think one-handers up the line, to me, are more dangerous than two-handers. It's hard to redirect on the ad with a two-hand backhand up the line with a little bit of speed. That's just my personal opinion. So if you're dealing with one-handers and two, that may affect it. But again, to me, this is simple physics. So when I first started, it was actually Coach Creasy that turned me on to it. But then later, after meeting with Paul, I did high performance with him in 1997, and I got obsessive about it. But it makes so much sense. The other area, did you notice what he said about the low volley versus high volley and all that? That's where it gets a little more complicated. But we just generally say what I would do when I was coaching is when the ball floats in the volley, it's your choice. It's not like over and over. The thing they've got to own those when the ball comes quick. They've just got to realize if the ball's coming quick at you and it's not up here, that you just got to play it back where it came from. Does that make sense, everybody? This is hard to train, but then people will say, well, if they know it, it's predictable. It's like if you're bringing heat, it's predictable. I'm going cross court. I'll give it to you all day long. I'll give it to you all day long. So the main thing with it is, again, if you can't serve the ball big and people aren't hitting the ball hard, a lot of this you can kind of throw out the window. But once you get the play where it's a higher level play, the directionals is a really, really powerful thing. All right, any questions on that? I hope I didn't lose you because that got a little deep. Any questions you have on that?
I'm sure I understand that.
Yep.
Why do the forehand on the deuce court, net player at the net, you're saying that forehand down the alley, hey, that net player needs to be paying attention to that because that net player is going to be involved in that shot? Is that what you're basically saying?
I'm kind of saying the opposite. What I'm saying, if the serve is out wide and has some speed to it, and I'm the partner of the server, I'm thinking it's a great ball to poach on. And most people get really nervous when the ball comes out wide and doubles. Yeah, but it's got to have some speed on it. Yep. And the one on the inside, they don't have as much fear, and they'll poach on that ball a lot, and that's the easier ball to pull.
Receiving from the deuce court backhand corner, tee shot,
Yeah,
backhand.
getting burned on the line's much easier, especially with a two-hander. Yeah. And my brain was always the opposite. I was like, out wide, oh, don't poach. Poach when it's down the tee. And if you're thinking about it from a directional standpoint, it's actually the opposite. Yep. Anybody else? Is that a hand? Yeah, and a lot of lower level people that have two-handed backhands too can't play an inside-out backhand, and it's going to come down your line a lot on the deuce side. Anyway, we could talk about this a lot, but to me, it's just fascinating. You're having to rewire your brain. Reminds me a little bit of when you coach doubles, and whenever the ball gets hit really, really deep, what does the net player do? Like on 3-5 tennis, do they move on top of the net and get really aggressive, or do they back up? They ought to be backing their butts up, but they don't. The average person, because they don't have fear. When the ball goes super deep, they're like, I'm going to clobber this ball, right? And then when someone moves forward on them, like, oh my God, I'm going to back up. And it's really the opposite, unless you're just going to get hit in the face. So when the ball goes really deep, it's reverse shading. Should be probably a step back and split, because the likelihood of the lob is really high when people get pressed. You with me on that? But most people flood the net because they don't have fear. And when someone comes in on you, they have fear and they start backing up, and the likelihood of a lob is very low. So you need to get low yourself and get ready for the action. It's kind of the same thing. Your natural reaction is the opposite. All right. Bill, we're at 2, right? This is when we shut it down, 2 p.m., right? Just wanted to make sure that I had everything. All right. Just wanted to go over this just a little bit, just turning offense into defense. Can I get the crew back out again? Oh, there we go. You decide who's going to go first. So we're going to turn this a little bit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let you serve whatever serve you want. It'll be first serve. And on the returning side, we want you to neutralize. So if you're going to neutralize, you're the returner. How would you neutralize his first serve? Down the middle. Excellent. Great response, Walker. Good training. Yeah, I'm going to get it back deep. But what I want y'all to do when we play out these points, and again, they're first serves. You can serve anywhere you want, is to try to see if you can hold your ground that return and go back deep center and see if you can jump on the next ball. Okay? I'm just using terminology. I'm just interested to see how she handles it. So again, we're working on first serve return down center, and this will be a dependent decision. So if that ball was in, what would she do? Is she going to attack off that? No, not at all. But this is something, I'm not talking about pro tennis, and I am talking about pro tennis, but just trying to train younger juniors and even adults that play singles or doubles, is that if it's coming aggressively like this and you get it back, good serve, nice body. Yeah, and hit the first again, okay? Yeah, you don't have to hit seconds. Ooh, I love that. It's a great miss. And we are playing the point out. I'm not sure if I made that clear. We are going to play the point out. Good. Add side. Let's. You can serve this time. That's fine. We'll switch roles. In something like this, I would probably keep the serve and return roles the same and do it for a length of time, because this takes a while to really develop that mentality. I want them to get confident blocking it back center. Yep. First serve again. I just want to see if we get one good one here. Look out. Now go to her forehand if you don't mind. I keep forgetting about her hand, left hand. Yep. Okay, so how'd you feel about your return? Was it offensive, neutral, defensive? What'd you think? Kind of defensive, yeah. And you may have been trying to be neutral with it, but it kind of sat up a little bit. Okay, let's rotate one spot around again, okay? Rotate one spot around. All right, if any of y'all ever watched the Bryan twins practice doubles? Yeah, what are some of the things that they do? Just fire away. What's the alley drill? Yeah, alley rally. First time I saw them, I think the teachers' conference, they had that grid court, that plastic grid that you put like in pool bathrooms. What's that?
It was 37 on the forehand and 42 in the backhand in a row in front of it.
Yeah, I saw them do 270 something in a row without a miss. In the alley. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Walker, you may have been there. This was a while ago at the tennis teacher. It was ridiculous. It was like they had it on a rope or something. What are some of the other things they do in their practice? They do it every day. Jamie Murray does it as well.
Is it that volley?
They do the Roman thing and all that. What about lobbing? You ever watch the chip lob return? I mean, Murray made a living off of it, right? Block return and all that. People just don't work on it enough. So we're just going to show something again on the serve +1, the return +1. I want you to serve, and you're going to hit a decent first serve. I want you, and you're playing doubles, so you're going to slide out just a little bit. I want you to play a down-the-line lob, okay? And then you have the ability to take it out of the air if you want, or let it bounce, okay? And I got an aggressive partner over here, hint, hint, who's breathing down your neck and sliding over, all right? So I want you to serve, you to lob, and on the +1, I want to see what he's going to do. And you can do this, focus on the returner, focus on the server, it doesn't matter. And then play it out, yep. And you're okay to hit, as you just hit my partner's stomach. It's okay. That was a good move. It's a good move. And so come out like doubles a little bit further towards me, if you don't mind. Yep. And then chip lob down the line. Good, love it. Yes. So that's what I wanted to see if he was going to work on that, because it was a little bit weak, right? No problem. Is there an issue with that? To take that out of the air? Yeah, and people just don't work on this that much. They really just, they don't practice chip lobs. All right, so used to be, I'm so old, we'd say someone sent you a telegram. We'll say someone sent him an email that the lob was coming. Act like you don't know it's coming. So when you serve and volley, the whole idea is, where's your split going to be? Right there. Somewhere up in here, right? But the timing is going to be when he does what? He makes contact. So I want you to act like you don't know what's happening and split, and then you're going to have to cross over and take it out of the air. Does that make sense? Because you started floating in like we were playing singles. So again, you just got to be on them about that, because they will start getting sloppy about that. Yep. All right, so we're now working a little bit more on the server taking it out of the air, right? So if we flip this and think if it's a really good lob, right, we could flip it. So hold on. So we're going to work on the serve and volley, right? Let's take this thing down a different level, act like you're more of an intermediate player. And what I want to see now is you stay back And then if you think you've hit a really good ball, then you're going to slide up to net and sneak in behind it. You with me? So take the speed way down of your serve and act like you're an intermediate. Again, this is great stuff to work on for 3-5 level. So was that dependent? Did he act like it was dependent? Do you see what he did when he hit the return? He actually moved through the return to come in. So I'd encourage him now, don't do that. Wait to see how good the lob is first, because he's got someone breathing down his neck. Like right there, he didn't come in. We delayed. Okay, that's fair enough. So again, if you can serve, okay, and let's go to the deuce side. So sometimes, coach, I'll just step in. So now it's dependent on how good your lob is, whether you're going to come in or not. You act like you're scared to serve and volley. Okay? Cool. Go for it. Awesome. Thought it was going in. Let's do that again. Same thing on the deuce side. So I'm just stepping in to give that visual. Again, people don't work, number one, on the down the line lob enough, and they don't work enough on dependent, not just shots, but decisions about positioning dependent upon how good the lob is. There we go. All right, y'all come on over. Let's give them a hand, y'all. We're going to shut this down. If I was to feed this and be on the other side and not let them make the return, everything would look perfect and all that stuff. When you do this kind of stuff, even with good players, it's tough to do because they make mistakes. It's not perfect. The main thing I'm trying to do is give you a lot of ideas of things that you can work on with serve +1 and return +1. So it wouldn't be a presentation for me at a conference or whatever if I didn't make fun of my wife, which sounds terrible, but I'm not going to make fun of her. I'm actually going to compliment her. So my wife started playing tennis later on in life. I did not teach her. I have nothing to do with her game. So she was married before. She's a little bit older than I am, and she learned from a coach that didn't believe in changing grips. So my wife, who is a pretty darn good athlete, and her father played pro baseball. Her mother was actually, was it homecoming queen at LSU, believe it or not. She's from Desterham, Louisiana. And so she grew up with a really athletic family, and all three brothers, two of them were stud athletes. But she never played tennis before. So she had close to a Western grip. And so this is a great one. I think we talked about this maybe yesterday. She would serve the ball inside out like that, and the ball would hook and stay low. It was ridiculous, right? But what she was known for is playing the deuce side with her two-handed backhand, and she would take the lob and pull down the line because it was natural. She'd lob it as soon as it went in. She'd come to net, stop at the service line, and she'd just nail you with the overhead. And it was just like money. And she went to 4-5, and I'm not kidding you. And then she could drop shot like this. It was hideous. And she would do more straight back. There's no loop. I never taught her anything, but I'm just saying you don't necessarily have to have perfect strokes if you're tactically sound and you're a smart player. And she's not fast. She's just smart. She anticipates really, really well. But this was just made me think about it because this was just her money game. But most, and this is including me, most pros just don't work on it that much. I mean, it's like an insult to lob, and we all know the most frustrating people to play in doubles are people that lob. But as we say, if you lob cross court over and over, all you're going to get is no calls to practice, right? You got to go down the line so that you have a switch made, right? So people that just lob over and over, no, boring people. But we got to work on the practice of the lob more often. And if you think about it with kids, even with kids, most of them are going to probably play more doubles than singles in their lifetime. On the high school team, if you're weaker, you generally play doubles, right? And you play college, it's sort of even. You play singles and doubles. But league is mostly doubles, right? And we work on it very little. So again, I'm just stressing, when you work on that return +1, think about doubles, even if it's kids, but definitely with adults, you got to work on that more often because it's just like robbing people blind. But it's almost like as pros, we want to be all macho or whatever, and we're going to return and nail it and come in, serve and volley, and like the lob is an insult. But it's such an important play. And if the Bryan twins and Jamie Murray can work on it every day, I think you can work on it every day as well. Any questions? I'll take one, and then again, I'll be around. Walker?
That drill that you just during that was COVID. So we took that full time to do exactly what you were talking about. So when you asked the two brothers to do that, they're like rolling up their sleeves going, can I kill it? But that's what we did through COVID, was doing all of those alternative things that you don't get a chance to work on, and that's what gave them the opportunity to develop all those skills.
That's great. Thank you, Walker. And remember, again, we did it where the server could serve and volley and work on crossing. And we also did it when the server stays back and the returner can work on coming in. So again, always trying to think of the serve +1 and the return +1. Bill, I'm right at 2, so I'm going to shut it down. I want to thank Bill again for putting this together. There's a ton of people here, 47 yesterday, was it, for Wayne's workshop? You don't see this stuff for a summer conference, and it's because Bill works his butt off. And thank you to all of you for coming. Seriously, though, this was a great, great conference. Really appreciate that. Yep. Thank you.